welcome to my studio, and welcome to this third video in this series. This time we're going to try something a little different. We're going to change a little bit. We're still going to draw the puppy, but we're going to add a child to the picture. Now I can hear people say, well, I can't draw people, but yes you can. There's really no difference in drawing this child and drawing the puppy. It's the same principles, and I'll show that as we draw both of them. The only real difference is people generally don't have fur around their face and big floppy ears and a wet nose. At least some people don't. Anyway, we're going to use the same materials as we used in the other two videos. I'm still using the Derwent 9B. I'm going this dark because it has to show up on the camera. You don't have to go this dark. One will be a sharp point and one will be a blunt point for shading. But if you've got the old classic number 2 pencil around the house, and almost everybody does, and you can buy these at almost any store, grocery store or stationery store, any place that sells school supplies. This will work just fine. I'm going to use the Pink Pearl eraser, a cotton ball, and a cotton swab. I'm also going to use this kneaded eraser. Now if you really get into drawing and you want to continue to draw, you're going to want to pick up a kneaded eraser. You can get these at stores that sell art supplies. And the really neat thing about them is that when they get a little dirty, you just kind of pull them apart and re-knead them back together. That's why they call them a kneaded eraser. It's like kneading bread. And so you just pull it back together and you got a clean surface to pick up more lead. Plus you can shape it into all kinds of different shapes to get into really tight little areas, and I'll demonstrate how to use that on this video. So if you're ready to draw, let's go. Okay, we're going to start off by drawing in our basic shapes, just like we did on the other drawing. Again, I've put this under some tracing paper. If you don't have tracing paper, you can put it against a window where you've got sunlight coming in, and put a piece of bond paper or copier paper over it and trace these basic shapes. And I'm just going to lightly put in where the features are here. Now as you get more experienced in drawing, you'll be able to do this without using the tracing paper. You'll just be able to recognize these basic shapes and draw them in. But for right now, we're using some tracing paper here. Okay, and then we got the dog over here, the puppy. I don't know if this is a puppy or not, or a full-grown dog, but either way, same thing as far as drawing goes. This is just a short and fast way to locate where everything is on the when you're drawing. Okay, we've got the basic shapes in. I always like to get on dogs, I always like to get that nose because it helps you to locate everything else. And if we start with the eyes, are right here and right here, and again we start to locate things by how they're positioned from other things. We know that the nose is, looks like the nose is, this part right here starts just in line with the eye here. So if we come down here, and that's pretty much where we drew it, then the nose goes over to about here, and that's in line with this other eye, right about in there. So our nose comes around like this, and then down and up. It's kind of hard to see it, it's pretty dark, but you got the nostrils right here, and the upper lip is right in here. And so we'll just kind of indicate that a little bit. And we get the eyes here. Now, you can't see any white here. They're just dark right in here. Dark eyes there. Okay. And the upper lip comes around and goes back like it, almost straight back to the eye here. So it comes around here like this, and then straight back like that. And this one comes around and it comes back to a point that's just about in line with this outer edge of the eye right here. So we'll just make that just a little more bold line right there. Tongue is sticking out here. Okay. Now we start to indicate some of these patterns here with the shading. Okay, we've got a light brown area right in here. Just put it in like that. And same with the other side here. Light brown area, some black fur there, and comes around like this. Now, at the top of the eyes, it's like you start off with the black here and kind of goes up and then down like that. Maybe a little bit more about like there. And same with the other eye here. Comes up here, kind of comes down like this, and then crossed over here. And then it sort of goes back in there towards the back of the head. And on this one, it just kind of comes over here and then down just about a point, just above let's see, right about in there, about right through here on the nose. So we'll stop right there. Then it comes down like so, and then there's a little bit of the lower jaw right here. And this tongue is right about there. And then if you look at the, it's just past the edge of the nose here. So it'd be right about in there. Okay, so now we can start to shade that in a little bit. I'm going to take out some of the construction lines here because we don't need them all in there. And just take that out and this out, that out, that out, that out. Clean this up a little bit. Clean this one up a little bit. There we go. And take that line out and that line out. Okay, now I'm just going to lightly shade this area up here. Just add some graphite. Give it a value. The value again is the lightness and darkness of an area compared to the areas around it. Like this is a lighter value than this, but this is a darker value than, say, this area right here. Anyway, we wanted to add some graphite in here so we can start giving this dog some shape here. Okay, just bring that across, and I'm going to bring that shading down here, like so. And we'll just bring it right down to, down into here. Now, same on the other side. Comes down here, then it comes over here, and it kind of comes around here, right about in there. It starts to come down to the chest here. So and then there's a little line right here with a dark fur. It comes almost down to right about there, in line with the bib there, bib overhauls, right about in there, and it sort of cuts over here to where it stops just underneath the nose there. And that cuts this way, actually it's like that, and this part of it comes down here and then down and around like that. So we'll take this out and we'll just start to shade that in a little bit there too. Again, I like to go in the direction the fur is, if you can see that, but you really can't see it too much on this photograph, so I'm not worrying about it too much at this point. Now I'm going to blend all this, soften it so you don't see those individual lines so much. And don't worry about going over the, your lines, your borders, because we're going to clean it all up with an eraser anyway. So we'll get that, and then let me put some value here on the nose. Now I want to darken these nostrils because they're quite dark, and start the nose right there. Now this part of the nose, the light is actually coming from this direction, sunlight, and so it's kind of hitting this part of the nose. It's hard to really tell. It doesn't really show up that much right there. But I'm just going to darken this side over here a little bit more, especially underneath there. And I want to add a little bit more to the eyes here, make them a little darker. Same with this one. There's no white showing on these eyes. So here I can take out, now I've got that light brown there, so I want to take out a little bit of that graphite there, and there's one over here. Just take it out a little bit so that I know that I've got some different shade in there, different value in there. Now I want to catch these areas right underneath here. So it kind of goes over here and it comes down, not quite all the way down to the nose. And same with this one right here. Then there's a little area underneath the eye that's dark, and I think that's because these dogs are sled dogs and they're used to working in the snow, pulling a sled, and so I think that dark patch keeps the sun from glaring up into their eyes, and I think that's why nature has just sort of developed that pattern. It's funny how nature does that. And we'll put this up here like that, and again I can blend that. Now I think I'm going to have to use my little smaller cotton ball here. It's getting into a pretty tight area. Okay, now we're going to end up darkening all this and adjusting the values, but for right now it just gives us a reference. Now we'll add some value to the tongue here, give it a value. Soften it a little bit. And there's a shadow right underneath the tongue here, where the mouth casts a shadow there. We're going to put it right underneath there. It's not under the tongue, it's on the top of the tongue, but it's under the upper jaw there. And remember, dogs always seem to have this dark patch right here. And we'll just include that a little bit. And now we can see that the dog is starting to take some shape. Okay, and we can begin to add some darker patches here, like right around this area up in here. It's a little darker. And I think I will try to indicate some of that direction of that fur right there. It's hard to see on this drawing, or this photograph. So I'm just assuming that it goes that direction, which would make sense. Okay. And there's a light, or there's a brown area right in here, And that comes down sort of like that, sort of jagged like that, comes down right there. And then behind that there's the dark fur again, but it's light because it's getting the sun is hitting it directly there. So we can just kind of bring this out, the fur out in that direction. And soften that a little bit. Right now you don't see much difference between those two, so I'm going to have to darken this area so you can see there's more of a line there. And let's see, get rid of that line right there. Okay, now this area down here in the photograph, this is kind of blurred, so you wouldn't really see these, the direction that the fur is going, but I'm just going to indicate it because I'm sure that's the direction it is going. Now, right here, at the tip of the tongue, right here, actually the fur comes across like that, and the tip of the tongue right here, the white fur comes across, makes a little angle right there, and then comes across and up here. Actually, it's down further. Let's put that right there. Comes here, comes down. This one comes up like that. Then it's crossed here, and down, and like that. Sometimes we can get a little crazy about how accurate we make this. Nobody is going to be looking at this drawing and then looking at the dog and saying, ooh, that's not exactly right. That dog doesn't look like that. As long as it looks like a dog. Okay, put that in there. This one right here is a little darker. We're going to make this just a little darker around the face here, make that stand out a little bit more. So right around there. There's a lot of different shades in this dark fur, and so it's not just plain black. It's got some brown in it. There's a mixture of hairs in there, and so now this light tan color here, I'm just going to very lightly put that in here. And I think I'll just use my finger to smear that around. This gets a little darker. You're always going back and adjusting things on these drawings when you're doing a drawing like this, you know, and you're looking at it and okay, you say, well, that needs to be this darker, that needs to be a little darker. That's just part of the process, you know. And we'll put that in here. And same with there. Come down here. There, I'm going to add a little bit more there. I'm going to darken this ear up here. Right here, the ear is facing away from the sun since the sun is coming from that direction. So the back side of this ear would be light, but right in here it's pretty dark. So I'm just going to shade that in a little bit more. Same with over here. Now this one right here, it's the same kind of thing. It's not catching as much light. Okay. Now, if you take out if you make it too dark, you can go back in with your pink pearl and just kind of lighten that. Like that. Or if you've got what they call a kneaded eraser, to show you how neat this works. A kneaded eraser. Let's soften these edges right here. Soften that there. Like that. If you want to darken, or I'm not dark, if you want to lighten something, you can just knead this into the shape you want. And let's say there's an area right here that's lighter. I can just kind of make a little point right here and just pick that out. See how you pick that right up. And it's really neat. I can't imagine doing a drawing without having one of these, but let's define this mouth here a little bit more, because there's the gum line right here on a dog is dark, very dark, and then it comes down like this. You can see a little bit of the inner part of the mouth right there, so I'm just going to shade that in a little bit. Back here it gets much darker. Okay, and I think we can go a little darker on this tongue and a little bit darker in there. And there's a little ridge of light right here and right here. And so just going to indicate. Now here again, you can pinch your kneaded eraser like that and get a nice fine edge right there. Or you can take your pink pearl and just make a little indentation like that, little, take out a little area. And these eyes keep appearing too light, so I'm going to darken them a little bit more. When you're drawing animals or people, if you get the face pretty good, pretty well done, you can be a little off on the rest of the features, and it'll still look good. Now you can't be way off, but you can be a little bit off. So those facial features are some of the most important areas. I'm going to darken this nose here a bit more. And this area right in here is a little bit darker than this shade right there. So I've got a line coming there, and I want to take that line out. But I'm going to just put a very light shade right there. And then this brown comes around here, like that. Okay. And soften some of this again. You're always looking at areas and adjusting them. And like I said in the other video, a drawing is not done until it's in the frame. And I have been known to take a drawing out of the frame after I've looked at it for a while and there's something I didn't like, I'll take it out of the frame and correct that. Of course, unless somebody else owns it, you can't do it, but okay. And I think this is a little strong, so I'm going to just use my pink pearl here just to take out a little bit of that underneath there. It's just a little too sharp an edge there. There's a little shadow right in here. And see these little details like this. As you draw more, you'll get more sensitive to them. You'll see them a little better. It's those little details that make the drawing look really good. Most people don't recognize those things, and but you as an artist, you have to. This little tongue underneath here is a little bit darker yet. So with that, by darkening this tongue, I really have created the shape for this upper lip right here, and that's a good thing. Let's see, let's put this in here. All right, now we could actually move over here now and start working on this little child. Now, I think this is a little girl because it looks like she has a little dress on here with some leggings underneath it, and it's kind of folded up. She's sort of sitting on that dress there. And so what I want to do is find this hairline right here. So that hairline is just above the eye here. That's why it's nice to get the eyes and nose in, because it gives you nice reference points for other things. So if I come across, that means a hairline starts right about in there. And this is real light blonde hair. So it kind of comes here, it kind of comes up like this, and it comes down, and then put this over here. That hairline is right on line up here, so it comes down in this way, and then it's sort of chopped off right there. It kind of goes up and over to this point, like that, and then straight, kind of straight down here. It's not a circle like that. So I can take some of these construction lines out now. And remember on the other two drawings how we indicated that real light on a dog, real light fur, on this person here, this little baby, real light hair where the sun is shining through. And the way we showed that is when we shade this, we stay a little bit away from that and then bring our background up to it. And so we create that, our background comes up to about there, and our shading comes up to there. So you leave this area in here that's light, and that tells the viewer that there's light coming through there. Now the nose right here comes out here like this and then down, like a little child has a little nose like that, and they have a big cheekbone right here, and that kind of comes down like that. You just see the sides of the eye right there, not very much at all. It goes around like so, and the lips come down here. And this chin is, if you look at, carry this across, chin is just about where that shadow is on the tongue right there. So if you carry that across, the chin is right about there. So it sort of comes like this, and then it comes down like that. I think I've got these lips here just a little bit too low, so I'm going to raise them just a little bit. Up about like there. Okay. Now there's on the child's nose like that, there's kind of this part where the nostril is right there. All right. Now I want to soften these lines a little bit because they're kind of strong. I'm not going to need them that strong. Just want to have them where they show me what's there. And I want to indicate a little bit of the ear inside here. And the ears have a shape like this. They kind of come around. And the ear is in line right about here with that bottom of the lip. It comes like that. And there's a little canal right here. Okay. Now, the hair up here, you can definitely see which way it is going. It's going this way, down here. And then up here, it's going that way, that direction. There's no, you don't see any eyebrows on a little child this young. So, And let's see, we've got the shoulder right here, comes up here, just starts right below the nose, and then it comes up and just about here where that brown starts, there's a little sleeve right there. So we'll put that sleeve in there, and there's a little shadow right in here where the wrist starts to turn into the hand. Now there's folds right here, so the sleeve is pulled up a little bit. So I'm just going to lightly indicate those. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them right yet. So we'll just put that in there. Okay. Now, the bib comes across here, and the shoulder strap comes underneath the chin right here. Put that over there. Comes right underneath the chin right here, and that comes over and comes just past the mouth right here. So it's just like this. And there are big metal clips on this side. Like that. And this shoulder strap right here, the edge of the bibs is right past in the back side of the ear here. So if you come down like that, that means the edge of the bibs is right there. So it'd be right about there on our drawing. And the shoulder strap is a little bit wider than the other one, because we're not seeing all of that one, but this one you can see all of it, and it goes up here and comes around. Same way with this one. Now there's two different ways that they've got the bib. This has got the traditional hook right here, and it looks like they maybe lost it, so they put a clip on this side. So it comes down like that, and then it goes around a brass button right here. Actually, it's down more like about there. And then the bib comes down here, and then it comes around like that. And the open collar of the shirt comes right underneath the ear here, and it comes over here and goes across like this. And so now you've got most of the face blocked in. This is the hand, and this child is grabbing some fur on that dog, and the dog looks very patient. I've had a dog like this. Our dog's name was Nanu, and she was a Malamute, and they are an incredibly gentle dog. Okay, now I'm going to try to indicate some of these folds in here, and just do that very lightly. I don't want to get into a lot of detail yet. There's a curve right, or a fold right here, and then there's one right here. Same with right here. Another one down here. Now there's a few of them right in here. Okay, so let's start to add a little bit of graphite and add some values, and start to make this form come alive here. So I'm going to darken that area right there, and I'm going to add some value here, some graphite. Same with this one over here. Okay, and right here, we will draw in this area. Let's see here, I'll put it up here. Draw in this area right here. It's right in there, and comes back and then across. And now there's a little dress right here. And so I just want to kind of indicate where that's at. And just kind of comes down right here, and then comes up, and then back down over here. And there's a bottom of it's like this. There's a big fold right there. So it comes across like so, and like that. And then it looks like there's some of it down here, so it's really hard to tell what's going on there because there's a lot of grass here. So I'm just going to kind of lightly indicate where that grass is. Okay, and I think I will start to shade in this this hair right here. I'm just going to add some graphite all over the face here. And up here. Now I can take out some of this right here because that's going to be the sun's going to be coming through there, so I'll just sort of take that out. And it looks like, I think something I don't like about this area right here, I think that nose is a little too high. I'm going to change it like that. And get that out of there. And I want to bring this lip up a little bit because I think the chin was just a little too small. Okay, now we're going to indicate some lines of give you some idea which way the hair is going here. So I'm just going to darken in a few patches right here, like so. This area right in here is a little bit of a shadow there. Okay. Some more of a shadow back behind here, behind the ear. There's a little shadow underneath here. Comes around like that. Okay. Now if we take our cotton, and I got a fresh piece of cotton over here because I really don't want to add a lot more graphite, and this one has got a lot of pencil lead in it now, so I just want to soften these lines. I don't want to add them, make them darker. So, okay, there's a little bit of shadow in here. I think that's a little strong, this angle right here. Girls have a little more of a rounded forehead than boys do. So we're just going to round that out like that. They have to make room for all their brains. Little girls are very smart. I've got two granddaughters that are so smart. Okay, let's just soften that a little bit. Now, just to give an idea of what this this light area is here, I'm going to add some value in here, this background value, so we can show that the light is showing through here. And we'll just get rid of the little eraser crumbs right there. Okay, just add some value up here. Now, there's better ways of doing this than just with a single pencil. There's some graphite sticks that you can get and things like that, but I wanted to do this drawing with stuff that you probably have around the house, because as everything with this coronavirus that's going around right now, people are reluctant to go out shopping, and so I didn't want you to have to go out and buy stuff. I wanted you to be able to just use what you've got around the house. If I was doing this for myself, I would probably use, I've got several different graphite sticks that would fill in this area, or you can get graphite in a powder form and put it on a cotton ball and really cover a big area. But again, we're trying to do this with stuff that you have around the house. So, okay, let's just soften this, and we'll get the effect of how that light is coming through. Okay, I'm going to take out a little bit more lead right here. Across there, like that, like this. Actually, it's not that big an area. Let's go in, let's shorten that up a little bit. Looked like they had a halo. And if you've ever had little children this age, you know it's probably not a halo. Okay, and I can darken the skin here a little bit more, so there's more, because there's more contrast between this skin and this light area right there. And I'm going to indicate some little dark patches right here under where you can see through the hair. Okay, I'm going to bring this around a little bit more like that, and maybe a little bit more out here. Don't want it to be too stark a change. Okay, now there's where we're at so far. And we've used just the same principles we did on all the other drawings, where you start off with locating, once you get, like on this one, I really located the nose first, and then everything came off of the nose and to the eyes, and then I was able to use these as reference points for the different points on this figure right here. And so that's, you can approach every drawing that way. Now right here, I want to darken this area underneath the arm right here, because it's away from the light, so it's not getting any light. The light's hitting this top edge right here. So do that same way with the shirt here. Okay, and then underneath here, there's a part of the sweatshirt or shirt comes across there. I'm gonna shade that in a little bit. I've got to make this a little darker. Okay, just come across there like that. Now there's light hitting this shoulder on the back side, so I want to stay just a little bit away from that. Right there as I come down here. Just a little bit. I'm not being real careful there because it's going to get some more shading in there. That was just a little bit too strong. Let me see if I can take some of that out. Let's take some of this out with the pink pearl here. It's amazing how sensitive the human eye is to different shades and little subtle things. Now, this area right here, that's the eyelid there. And then I want to darken these straps here of the little denim overalls. And do this one too. Let's see. Now we can start to add some dark value onto these, onto this little pair of bib overalls here. Okay, and then bring this down, like so. And let's fill this in here. And get down here, and then we'll blend it all. And I can use my cotton ball with all the graphite in it because this is going to be a very dark area. So we don't care if we get it kind of dark. Let me go across ways here that'll fill in. It's hard to get this tracing paper really dark. It's much easier to do it on a good white paper. See here. Okay, I'm going to smooth that out with my finger. And like that. This gets to be a little darker here. Now, I can go back in now and start to put in these creases here. And wherever you've got a shadow on a crease like this, you're going to have a highlight on the top. So if I got my creases like that, same with this one across here, then up here, there's a little one there, another little one there, there's one right over here. Now at this point, I can take my eraser and erase the highlights right here. And we'll carry this background down a little bit further so that we can show the highlight along this edge right here. So let's just fill that in a little bit more. Right down next to that line. Okay. All right, now I can take the pink pearl and pick up some spots here. A little bit of shadow in here, right there, a little bit there. Okay, now let's take out some of this edge right here, because it's getting the sunlight on it now, so. Okay, it's looking pretty good. I think I'll probably go back and darken this area right in here some more, because it's showing the pencil lines for one thing. I don't want that. Same as up here. In that little bit there. Now the little bit of the dress hanging down here, it's kind of a mid value. Let me put it up here. It's right here, and I'll just indicate that first. There's a little dark edge right around it there. There's some dark folds down in here. Just put some graphite in there and play with it from there. Now right in here there's a dark seam, because this piece rises up and it comes down this way. across. All right, and okay. Now also there's well, the dark fur and the light brown fur, that defines this edge right here. So let's put in some more of that. Bring the dark fur down to there. And the light tan fur, we'll bring it around here, like so. Right in there. Okay, and we want to take out some of that area right there. And now there's a little, I think these are like boots here she's got on. So I'm just going to rough those in and shadow it. Okay, we're getting there. And like that. Now it's light. This part of the jeans is light back in here because the sun's hitting it. So we're just going to bring it down to about there. All right, let's see what we got here. I need to darken this area right here. And there's a shadow on this part of the leg, and I'm just going to use this cotton ball because it's got so much pencil lead in it, I can actually draw with it. And now there's a highlight hitting right here, so I want that. And we'll just take this out a little bit. Okay. Now, in here, I'm going to try to indicate right in there some of the fur texture. And right underneath here, it's lighter, but not too much. And this light brown is down here. Let's see, I'm trying to decide what to do with this area right here. Okay, I'm going to put this in here, and it's kind of a part of the white chest right there. This area here gets a little darker. Okay. All right, how are we looking here? I'll put this up here. Put it up there like that. It's easier to see. Not too bad. This area in the ear is a little darker. I could put that in there. And bring that around a little bit. There's a little dark area in here. It kind of helps define this ear. A little bit of dark area in here. And there's kind of defines that shape. of the hair there. Okay, and these right here I can just sort of indicate again. All right. Now I can take the, I probably got this a little too dark right here, so I'm going to just lighten that up a little bit. And I can do it with my pink pearl, or I can do it with the kneaded eraser. So let's just lighten that up a bit. And we will darken up against it here. There's a little pattern. I don't think I'm going to show that. It's going to be too much to try to show that pattern in here in the dress. But there is a little pattern there. And let's indicate some branches, some grass growing up here. That's the reason that they're sitting there. And okay. Like I said on the other videos, it's always a challenge to know when to stop. And what I always ask myself is, what I'm adding, is it adding to the drawing, or is it just busy work? It's a little girl's face, so it's going to be kind of soft and not very many sharp lines in it. Let's get this, let's get that little bit in there. And just a little bit of highlight right there. And there's definitely highlight back in here. Okay, we're pretty much done with this, and you can see we've just done it just the same way as we did the dog. No difference. And so don't be frightened by the idea of drawing people. Just don't think of them as people, just think of them as another shape. And you should be fine. Just indicate some grass here, so that you can see that this body disappears into the grass right here. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it. I could bring this across here, the background right here. You could do that too. I mean, just this is just a demonstration to the, you know, the different principles, different techniques here. So it's not important that we're not doing a finished drawing here. So I think you get the idea. Maybe we probably would want to darken this a little bit more up in here, a little bit more contrast. The eye is drawn to contrast. When you have contrast in a drawing, it draws the viewer's eye. So contrast is a variety of contrast is very nice. It makes for a very interesting drawing. Okay. Sometimes I don't like to completely blend everything. I like to have some bold lines showing up. That's just the kind of style of drawing I like. So some people draw very realistic. It's very almost like a photograph, and that's okay if that's the way you want to draw. But I kind of like for it to appear that somebody that a person drew it by hand. It wasn't done by a machine, so. By putting in some value like this, then you've got an area where you can pick out highlights. If I left this white and just shaded in a little bit, I wouldn't have as much area to pick out highlights. So, and you can also pick out some up here, you know, so. Like that indicates some of the hair. That's a good way too to indicate which way the hair is falling. Okay. All right, that's the video. Okay, I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned something on this video. And our next video, number 4, is going to be something with landscape. And we'll get into perspective, so join me then.